The Veve team had a community update yesterday, discussing all the strategies, methods, things that they're working on to improve this business, the fundamentals, and what's actually happening right now. So in this video, we're going to discuss all the main points that were talked about, some of my thoughts, and maybe what we can take away from all of this moving forward. So let's get started. Welcome in everyone, my name is Andy, and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come watch this video on the channel. Just before we get started, if you are enjoying the content and you want to support me further, you can hit a subscribe button, and if you want to support me further than that, you can join the membership. There's quite a lot to cover in regards to what was talked about. I think it was an hour video that was actually discussed. I'm going to try to condense it in the best way possible, give you the sort of fundamental points of what they'd actually covered and wanted to talk about, and then give some of my overview thoughts on what could maybe be happening, my thoughts on it, and if I'm really happy with the situation or what's going on. I know there's some of you who are maybe mixed emotional wise as to whether this was good or bad. To me personally, I thought it was actually really good. It was straight to the point, it was direct. I think it's better than the spaces that they were in before, because there's people bombarding them with specific questions again and again and again, and they're never actually moving forward with it. So this sort of method, they're able to be direct, to the point, what actually needs to be heard and how we move forward. Of course, there's going to be people who are upset about some of the things that are going on. To me personally, I understand this is a business and it takes long to actually do some things, more so than people actually know, and therefore I'm actually quite happy with the information that we got. I never expected anything massive, and we didn't get anything that was absolutely life-changing, but we got a better understanding of what's going on. So let's get into it. First is the drop loss today system. Now, the drop loss today system is something that's been talked about for quite a while now, and that the wait list is going to be coming in. So how it will work now is that 50 minutes before a drop was happening, you can join the wait list, and then once it actually is over and the sort of 50 minutes are up, it will then decide who actually gets the drop, who wins it, who doesn't. And this is going to be in relation to helping with the app functionality itself, as they said that this drop system that we're getting right now is actually very heavy on the server load, and why a lot of us get these error messages of your system doesn't meet this requirements or security is down, that sort of stuff. So with this new waitlist method, to severely decrease the amount of stress that is on the server systems when the drops are actually happening. He said that this should be starting in April with a little bit of a small rollout, where there's going to be some waitlist system and some of the regular system. And then if all goes according to plan and there's no errors or massive things that need to be changed, then hopefully by May time-ish, we're going to be having that fully rolled out, and that's how the new drop system will work. Following on from that point is KYC, which is Know Your Customer, something we've discussed quite a lot in this channel. Now, Know Your Customer is basically to help stop fraudulent activity, and it means that people who are participating in anything in regards to money or that sort of thing, then they need to show some form of identity to prove that it's you who's doing it. And Veve have actually stated they're going to be rolling out KYC for every single user on the platform, meaning if you're coming on for the first time, you're going to have to sign up with KYC, and if you're an already existing user, the time that you log onto the app, you're going to be asked to do this, else you probably won't be able to get onto the app. Now, some people are really upset by this, some people are really happy about this. Me personally, I'm really happy about it. I understand that not everyone wants to do KYC, and that's a thing that happens, but this will severely decrease the number of bots that are actually going to be able to do this, and they're also going to be able to figure out how to move forward better to improve their customer experience through this. It was funny, last night I saw people saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of Veve, that's the end of my journey because of KYC coming in, and I find it quite laughable that this is the case. I know some people want to be anonymous and that sort of stuff. That's perfectly fine. Veve is backed by the biggest licensors in the world. If you thought that this was going to be the route that they were never going to take, then I don't really know where your thought process was with this. I think KYC is an important aspect of it. I think it's an important part to move forward. I think this is going to help over the long run, even if it hinders growth in the beginning, but I truly believe it's a good thing. Some people were also saying this is going to move away from kids who are growing up and wanting to get these licensed collectibles. But if we're taking it on that instance that they're not old enough to maybe do KYC or anything like that, to take things like gaming microtransactions, most of the people who are playing these games and actually buying the battle pass and all that sort of stuff aren't old enough to do it. They get their parents to do it and to log on to get their stuff. And work the exact same way on fronts like this. And it's not to say that it will be the case, but I don't think that's actually going to hinder people from getting on if they do enjoy what the app is going to provide in years to come. The question that I actually did have in regards to staying anonymous, because I think that's an important part of when it comes to Ethereum whales or that sort of stuff. They like to stay anonymous with who they are as individuals. I'd like to actually know if that means that if they don't go on Veve themselves, but once interoperability on IMX is a thing, does that mean they can stay anonymous on IMX by solely purchasing on there and not on the Veve app? or does it directly go to the Veve app, meaning you could only sell it there by actually having a Veve account? So that would be an interesting thing I'd actually want to know a little bit more about. Can big Ethereum whales stay anonymous by solely buying on IMX, or do you actually need a Veve account in order to buy these collectibles from there? And it's a question that might be already answered, but something I would be curious to hear about. They've mentioned that gem transfers themselves are going to be completely disappearing. You're not going to be able to transfer gems from a direct wallet to another one, and this is in compliance with some of the laws that to KYC that said they are assets and cannot be moved around, so this is going to hurt bots big time over the long run. Right now, I don't actually think that's going to matter that much. You can send 500 gems maximum per day to different accounts, and I'm not actually sure if they're going to be removing the likes of assets. I believe so, it will be assets as well and transfers of collectibles. This will actually allow them to stop the sort of bots who are sending them all to one main account. There's been some people on Twitter, the likes of Getsy, who've been posting about big accounts who have got like 80 and 90 of the same collectible all coming into this one main account an hour after the drop has happened. So this is actually going to help them see this sort of fraudulent activity and catch it a lot easier, as well as they're not going to be able to transfer it to those different accounts and to that one main account. And with KYC added onto that, what I see it as is fundamental steps of preventing more and more bot activity. I've said in the past, obviously it's like whack-a-mole, where you're just trying to figure out what they're learning is new and how to actually combat that. So I feel these are just new steps in order to combat those things and actually help the user base get better chances of getting the drops, actually enjoying the app experience and sort of moving forward with that. So it's not something that's massive, it's just an addition anyway. Here's one of the big ones then, MTL, something that a lot of people wanted to hear about, want to understand. They already have beta testers, we sort of knew that, and they're still rolling out with all of it. They said they have got basically all of the fundamentals right, they've got it all on top, it's all ready to go, it's actually working, going well. They're going to be giving it to random people in the community who qualify to be able to test it, and it's more so going to be people who have more gems in their account to test the wider ranges. Now, I know some of you are maybe going to be complaining that you should be picked because you have 1,000 gems in your account rather than someone who has 50,000, but what I want you to know is there are plenty of people who actually qualify on a consistent basis for this, to be able to test those wider ranges, to be able to test from a different region and all that sort of stuff. Remember with MTL, where they're actually aiming for worldwide MTL from the get-go. And they said in the community update that releasing in certain regions is a lot easier because you're just releasing one region at a time and you're moving forward with that. But they're just aiming for a full-blown release of MTL for everyone in every region that they possibly can from the get-go. This has to be right. I've said this plenty of times. If this is not right, Veve will be dead. There will be so many lawsuits. It's unbelievable how bad that would go if they released this wrongly and it didn't actually go well. We would be gone and everything would be terrible because now they're actually dealing with real money, fiat, and it has to go right. So if it doesn't, then everyone, I'm sure, would be complaining more than they are right now. I think it's a good update that they're continuously working on this. They've also said that New Zealand's laws are already changing, and because they're actually working out of there, they have to go with the law that is going on right now. And because they're changing and because they're always adapting, then they have to make sure they're staying on top of this. They are looking for the long-term fix. That was what they were saying in this community update. They're not someone who's going to bring it into the fundamentals at the start and then only get a short-term fix that has to then be updated 3 months from now and then has to be updated again 3 months from now. They want to get it right the first time, meaning that when updates do need to happen, it's at the right time and for the right reasons. Because there's companies working at this from the get-go, they can sort of mold it into what they're already building. But because Veve built that out not to be the case and are now building it in to be the case, it's going to be a little bit harder and it's going to take a little bit more time. So for me, this is actually really good news. I understand people are going to be frustrated with this, but for my plan personally, I am actually happy with that. They then moved on to talking about the fee structure and what's going on, why this is the case, why there's certain fees going on to certain things. So obviously we know that they take a 30% cut from Apple and Google when people are purchasing gems onto there. And what they'd also said is that they're paying the sales tax for every single jurisdiction that is actually being purchased within Veve themselves. So you can imagine how many different countries with different sales taxes they're actually incurring with this. And David Hughes said in this community update that considering with 100 gems purchased, sometimes Veve in their bank account get as low as 55% of that. So to balance it out, they have to have fees in some form of route. What they did say is that once the web app comes out, you're going to be able to purchase gems on there, and that will actually help with the sales tax, and obviously the tax that Apple and Google incur when you do purchase gems. So this could be a massive route forward for Veve, put people's eyes more so towards the web app. And in a way, what I kind of hope they do do, but they do what Twitch do, where they increase the amount it costs to buy gems on the Apple Store and the Google Play and direct people more towards the web app. So if you purchase on your phone, you're going to have to pay $1.30 per gem, and that means that they don't have to incur any of the fee that is the case. But if you go into the web app, it's still going to be one gem for $1. But you've done this, and there's a lot of other places that do this as well. I think this is the best route forward. I think that stops the fee, absolutely destroying the revenue that Veve are getting in, meaning they can spend more on the fundamentals of the business and actually help it move it forward. Some people are not going to like this, but I think most of us in this day and age own a computer, own a PC that we could go onto and put gems on there, taking a little bit of our time out of our day to go and do that rather than actually having to put the gems on. I think this is the best route forward. I would love to hear your thoughts on that though. Talked about search functions and comic showrooms. Now with the search functions, there's being able to search for specific mints, specific things within the app and within the marketplace. I think this is just a good step forward. This is what we all want to see. We all want to be able to search easier, a better functionality for that. And I'm guessing when the web app comes out too, this is going to be the case. And for comic showrooms, they said they're not prioritizing at the moment because they're obviously working on the fundamentals of the business, but it is likely to come out over the next few weeks as long as all tests go well. Comic showrooms wasn't something, it was like a make or break for me if Veve was over if it didn't do it. I'd like to see it being released and seeing it actually move forward with that. MCP, or the Master Collector program, they talked about that all of the back end stuff is basically complete and they're now on the front end of what MCP is. So basically they've got all the background stuff that needed to be done in order to actually get this front end stuff started. They'll most likely soon be moving on to all of the front end stuff for the app, how MCP works, and hopefully be rolling that out in Q2, Q3. I believe that was their aims for this anyway. Ownership was then discussed about the metadata for IMX and what was going to be happening with that. Most of that is running on IMX's hands right now. It's not actually in Veve's hands, and they've said that IMX are working on the integration with OpenSea, so it could take a little bit of time before this is the case. But I actually thought that was really good news. I know IMX had partnered up with OpenSea a while back, and I know Veve had also partnered up with OpenSea a long while ago as well, I think 2018 when the tweet was made. So this could actually be a really good thing to get more OpenSea people involved within IMX or for rolling on to Veve once this is the case. So I think this is a great thing that they're working on that. I know it will take some time for the ownership, but it will be cool to see. Now, if we have a look at the web app, something that I was actually really excited about seeing and didn't expect to actually see it within this, we got our first viewing of what the web app is actually going to look like, and we can see it all here on the screen right now, what they're sort of going through, what it looks like. It does just look like a stretched version of the phone app. We knew this was going to be the case. I didn't expect anything else, and it's really, really cool to see what they're working on for this. You can see all of your comics here. You can go into your collectibles and you can search rarity. It looks really smooth, it looks really clean, it looks really, really easy to do. You can see your estimation of your vault value. You can go into here, you can sell for a fixed price, your auctions, you can complete the transfer and all that sort of stuff. So it does actually look really, really good. You can enter your showroom from here, and this is actually where I want to see my showroom better. I want to actually utilize my showroom, and I think on the web app we're going to be able to do that. Of course, you can see the collectibles here with what they're doing, their rarities. I actually really, really liked the new updates that we got for the web app and what they were sort of going with and what they were actually moving forward with it. I've said that once the web app is up, it will only be the waiting room system that will work for the drops on the web app. My assumption is that we will not see the web app until at least after May, because they have said that they're going to be rolling out this new drop system early April, and then going to be, hopefully, if all goes well, testing and fully functioning by May. So I would assume that the web app won't be released until after then anyway, which again, I'm okay with. The web app is something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I don't use my phone as much as I do my computer. I would rather everything on my computer. I would rather everything there. So yeah, this is a really, really good thing for me. I was really, really happy about this. It looks really smooth. It looks good. It's going to be interesting to see how it works and how it flows once it's fully released. David Yu touched on a new product category and sort of spoiled it a little bit, but he was talking about lower limited mints. So could potentially even be one-to-one arts as well as very low supply. We don't exactly know what it is just now, but it is going to be interesting to see that these scarcity things are going to be coming in. And I think these are all working in a pattern, because if we take the likes of, we're coming to the waitlist system where it's going to be allowing more people to get involved, and then also KYC, it's going to help limiting the users who are using 40, 50 accounts or bot accounts that are actually using those, meaning that we have a better chance of getting those, actually building the community behind what Veve is meant to, more people sharing it on social media, more people building those communities around it, rather than, you know, solely having the people who are getting 80 in one drop and then selling all those off. So this is going to be a really, really cool way forward, and it's going to be interesting to see. Another update on the Ukraine part of the drop that happened with Ron English. March, they'd actually said that they were able to donate $782,000 to support Ukraine through Red Cross, which I just think is incredible. I know some of you were complaining that they weren't doing the sales fees or the sales transactions on the app, but anyone donating $782,000 to anything is an incredible thing to see. So massive props to Veve on that. That's incredible stuff. And they've also said that they want to do further stuff in the future to help support anything that they can, which again, amazing stuff. I really do appreciate everything that you're doing in that regard. So fantastic work. They then talked about the promo codes that were added, and it was not just a waste. Some people I know on Twitter were saying that it was a bit of a waste of time. There was nothing really was happening with that, but they have said that they're going to be using it through events with the partnerships that they're having for people to get into exclusive drops that are going to be going on, as well as hopefully working with physical collections in the future in order to scan or use promo codes to get specific things in the app. Now, this was something I was very interested in. They touched on working and talking with big physical companies for collectibles to work with them further. If I'm putting any guess with one of the people who they're probably talking with, it's most likely Jeremy Padwar, but I'm guessing there's some other massive companies that they're in talks with right now to actually move forward with this physical collection alongside the digital versions. And I think these promo codes are going to come in massively in the future, with people coming onto the platform and actually getting introduced to Veve through these platforms. Done it recently with Marvel and their digital comics. I believe some people got the Amazing Spider-Man, and I know that they're going to be doing this in the future too. I'm really excited to see more and hear more about this. One of the final things that were discussed was in relation to the OMI token. Now, I know on my channel, I don't always talk about the OMI token. It's not something I talk about massively. I don't have the expertise within the tokenomics, and I don't tend to speak about something that I'm not fully confident in doing. But I actually really liked what they had said about this and what they had moved forward and what their plans are with it. Now, they'd said that they're making sure that before any big exchanges come, there's going to be better utility for the token. They could just as easily get on these big platforms right now if they want and see a sharp spike in the price before it probably going down to what it's at right now. So what their plan is to really start building out the OUP functions and improve the tokenomics on how to make it better for the long run. So Dan said that they had worked on obviously the tokenomics back years ago, but now obviously the system has changed, things are adapting, and the company themselves are moving in a different direction, maybe to what they were 3 and 4 years ago. So they're going to be reviewing all of the tokenomics to see how they can actually move this forward, bring utility to it, and make it something that is actually worthwhile to own and something that is going to be a big mover in the future, because they do plan on getting all of the top 10 exchanges under their belt as they move forward. And they do have one of the top 10 exchanges that is going to be coming, I believe, in the next few months from what David had said. But also mentioned that OMI to NFT will be an important aspect of this, and it's something, again, I really want to see. OMI to NFT to me is something that will be quite a big shift for this, and seeing that will be a massive step in the right direction. Now, for me, I found this to be really good. I know the NFT space and the cryptocurrency space moves at light speeds. So 6 months in this space is maybe like 6 years in the normal stock exchanges. So if we're taking likes of Google moving from 6 years, it's the sort of same as OMI moving in 6 months. There's a lot that obviously shifts and happens within this space very quickly, but I think Veve are moving towards becoming that company that is like a normal stock. And they may take a lot longer to move than some of these other cryptocurrencies. But what my thought is that once potential recessions hit, once bad times hit, how are these fundamentals of these booming coins right now that may not have strong fundamentals actually react? Now, does OMI have strong fundamentals right now? No, absolutely not. But their focus is to build those out before actually applying themselves to these big exchanges. Remember, it's not actually Veve who just decide, yeah, you know what, I want on your exchange, that's it, put me on your exchange. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye, and there's a lot more behind the scenes that people probably don't know in regards to actually getting listed on an exchange. The costs that incur with that, the potential tokens that have to be distributed to these platforms to actually be accepted on this base, and the costs they actually incur regularly to be on this platform. I think it's a lot more deep than people may realize, but something to keep in mind in regards to this. Me personally, I thought that was a really good move, and I think that's something that shows how much David and Dan truly care about their company as a whole, and it's not just one of those things where we're just going to go on every big exchange possible and then hope that the token does well. Until there's true fundamentals behind it, I don't think much is going to happen, and I'm okay with that. As I've said plenty of times on this channel, I'm here for years on end because I believe in the company and the leadership that's going on with it. You can decide whether that works for you or not, but I totally respect your opinion and your financial situation with what you choose to do for it. There's another thing that I want to discuss that happened sort of over the past few days, and it's not related to the AMA because the AMA was sort of happening prior to this, but there was an exploit in Gems recently where 8 million gems were put into the app illegally. If I'm not wrong, now I don't have all of the information as of right now. There is information leaking and getting out there to what is maybe going on. There's a potential someone who is using fraudulent gift cards in order to accept a purchase of gems and then decline that before the process had actually went through, therefore getting a lot of gems into the account and then actually selling those off. I believe there was quite a few people who bought a lot of gems at a highly discounted rate, and therefore that is why the market is closed right now. They're working out how to actually move forward with this and how to do it, and they've actually potentially found the people who are behind this. I think it was actually related to their PayPal account, so they'll have their location, name, everything behind it, and this will potentially be jail time easily. This is fraud, this is illegal to do, and because this is the case, they have restricted the market at the moment and are restricting some accounts that are probably related to those that have purchased through these activities. One thing I do want to mention is that if you're buying gems off app, there is nothing wrong with doing that unless it is related to a scam or bots. Now, the people who have purchased the gems from these people in a way thinking this was completely legally, I know you'll get your accounts back because you haven't done anything wrong and you haven't done it in a fraudulent manner. You haven't done it to scam or use bot systems for this. You've done it just to increase your gem value. So I know your account may be restricted right now, but what I'm guessing is that if you have the proof right there, which you will have when you've purchased those, you'll be able to get your account back. I don't actually know what the solution is going to be. I don't know if it is on Apple's fault or if it's on Veve's fault that this came under. More so if it's Apple's gift card that they were able to cancel before the process had went through, then it can sort of fall under both of those. I think we should just wait to actually find out more data and more understanding of what's went on, how we can actually move forward with this, and how Veve are going to move forward with this. I'm guessing they're contacting each individual person to see how they can actually resolve this issue, and then they'll release the market, because if they're opening the market back up to everyone, these gems can then move around to more different hands. I think we're just going to have to see how this plays out moving forward. I know this video was probably quite long, but there was a lot of updates in regards to what was happening. For me personally, I'm actually really happy with all the updates that went on. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited to see what they're working on. I know some people were expecting some things to happen and some massive announcements to go on. For me, I knew that wasn't the case. I went in with no expectations and I came out quite happy with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this overall. Are you happy with what's going on? Is there some things that didn't sit well with you? Be sure to let me know down below. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.